up everyone, and welcome back to Project X Talk. This is going to be an episode of Gamepass in Review. And what title are we looking at this week? Well, none other than Doom Eternal. Now I know this game came out in March of 2020, but I played half of it around October before the Series X came out, and with the next gen upgrade I decided, you know what, I'm going to hop back in, play it, have Game Pass. It's still on Game Pass, obviously, with the Bethesda acquisition. So really no downside for me. I could experience the beautiful new 1800p 1800p 60 or 1440, 120, whatever the specs are. All I know is I'm playing 120 FPS. I don't care about the resolution that much. The game looks beautiful regardless. The game looked good on my 900p Xbox One, so resolution wasn't a big deal for me. But 120 FPS in a first-person shooter like this is game-changing. You know, it ran at 60. It was great at 60. 120 takes you to the next level. You can definitely feel how smooth this next-gen upgrade is. You can definitely feel how fast the responses are. It made aiming and shooting, it just felt better to play at 120 FPS, and I'm so glad that it really put in this update and really made it run better on next-gen consoles. Well, Series X. I know PS5's having a little issue with their save files, but in terms of the Xbox, I can't fault the performance. This game runs phenomenally. Now, the rest of the game, you know, the actual game is where I have an issue with Doom Eternal. I've never been a Doom guy. I've never played Doom before Doom Eternal, so maybe that's just, you know, my fault. The game, I would say the story is completely forgettable. I have no idea what happened in the story, except that I killed a bunch of demons. And maybe that's the whole point. In my mind, Doom is senseless fun. I kept coming back, and I finished it because of the gameplay loop, because it was so much fun to kill demons, because the glory kills were so much fun, the weapons felt good. That is what really kept me going, coming back, the gameplay loop. The story is nothing I cared about, and nothing that I got invested in, nothing I really understood most of the time. Maybe it's because I don't have that previous context, but it just seemed lacking. Nothing to really draw a new player into the Doom universe. Gameplay, great. Guns feel phenomenal. Like I mentioned, the 120 FPS, fantastic. The problem with the gameplay comes in the platforming department. I have no idea who decided that this game needed platforming elements, but it was a horrible decision. The platforming does not work at all in this game. Half the time, I'm looking like, where do I go? Where do I jump? Sometimes, even when you jump right, it doesn't work. Towards the end, you have to go through these little portals that shoot you. And one time, it just didn't send me to the right place. I just shot off course. It was so frustrating. Like, I just died for no reason. In terms of other gameplay mechanics, I will stress this. I played on the easiest difficulty. I tried playing on the normal difficulty. This game is incredibly hard, and I think I have heard this described as the Dark Souls of first-person shooters. Definitely lives up to its name. I cannot hang on those higher difficulties, so if you want to discount my experience and take it with a grain of salt, that's completely your prerogative. We've heard the difficulties over, we've heard the discussions over difficulty lately with Returnal, and Doom Eternal is no different. We have to play on what we can play. I could only play this game on easy. Does that make me bad? Probably, but this game is not something I normally play. I don't normally play first-person shooters. Doom has such an addicting gameplay loop that I really wanted to play it. I wanted to finish it. I wanted to see it out. So gameplay-wise, it's great, except the platforming, and I don't want to spoil anything, but the final boss might be one of the most anticlimactic final bosses I've ever had in a video game. It's not fun. It's long, drawn out. It's not hard, but it's just, compared to what came before it, because you do have difficult enemies. Those freaking guys with the shield are so frustrating. I don't remember their names, but some of the enemies can be a pain in the ass and frustrate you to no end. And I expected the boss to be like that, the final boss. But when he wasn't, I was like, well, I don't really have that sense of accomplishment now. Like, I beat the game, great, but I was expecting more from the finale of Doom. Now, if we want to talk about other things, I will say that the music is a big plus. It gets you pumped up. The heavy metal soundtrack gets you really, it's a vibe. It feels Doom, and I know I just said it's a vibe, but it is. It really makes you want to have this high energy, chaotic combat. It's what Doom is all about. So I think they nailed it in that department. Now, I've mentioned everything that I can think of, really. I didn't dive into multiplayer, so if you're expecting me to touch on multiplayer, I really can't. I can only say that the story is lacking, the gameplay is great except platforming, and the music's fantastic. I didn't encounter any bugs, so there's nothing in that category. For me, personally, I would say Doom Eternal is more of a 6 out of 10 game, just from my preference. From a critical standpoint, using our review metrics here at Project X Talk, I would say that this is probably an 8 out of 10, 7.5 out of 10-ish range, depending on how heavy I want to weight some things, like the story and the platforming. But overall, I think this is a game that, because it's on Game Pass, even if you haven't played Doom, if you're itching for a new first-person shooter, hop in, try it out, see if it grabs you. I don't think, because it's on Game Pass, there's any risk to doing that. I think you'll find an enjoyable first-person shooter with a lot of fun mechanics and gameplay that's really addicting. But if you're coming here expecting a good narrative, this is not the game for you. I suggest you look elsewhere. So that is all I have for Doom Eternal. I know it's a short one. I'm trying to get some video out, so get some content out for you guys. Really just give you a little deeper dive into games. I know we do our What You Playing segment on Project X Talk, the podcast, but that doesn't really often go deep into what we think about these games. So here's a little more. I hope you guys like it. If you do, please make sure to like, share, subscribe, and we will continue to bring you these little non-reviews in the future. So again, I've been Kevin. Thank you so much, and goodbye.